Welcome to the Jewish People's Podcast by JPPI. I'm your host, Yaakov Katz. On the morning of October 7th, as Hamas terrorists flooded into the Gaza belt communities, the State of Israel, the government, the IDF, and other security services were nowhere to be found. There were no clear orders, there was no visible command structure, and there was no immediate rescue on its way. But somewhere between the shock and the paralysis were a few people, including one retired IDF general, got into his car and began driving south. No one had called him from the government or the IDF. No one had given him the authority, but he went down because his son and his son's wife and kids were trapped in kibbutz Nachal Oz. He went to save his family and saved, in the end, many other Israelis along the way. My guest on today's show is retired IDF General Noam Tibon, the man who fought his way to the Gaza border that morning to rescue his family, and since then has become one of the most visible and vocal voices demanding accountability for what happened, and has since also entered politics, the party of Yesh Atid, alongside its leader Yair Lapid. The conversation today is not just about the morning of October 7th. It's about the wider question of leadership, accountability, responsibility. It's about what happens when someone who witnessed the greatest failure in Israel's history so up close decides that protesting is not enough and chooses to enter and to throw his hat into the ring to try to fix the system from within. You want to hear what General Tibon has to say about his journey over the last 2.5 years from the morning of October 7th to now running in the upcoming elections. Stay with us. General Noam Tibon, it's great to have you on the podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. And I want to start with your journey into politics, because I think it's very interesting. Obviously, you've been in the public sector for a very long time. You served as a senior IDF general. You have your famous story, which I'm sure you'll talk about. You have the harrowing, famous story of October 7th and your journey down south. But there is something that deeply troubles me, and I'm curious to get your take on it, is that we don't have enough people like you who are joining politics in Israel. We don't have enough new, fresh faces. If I look at the parties, it's a lot of the same people who have always been there. I celebrate your entry because the way I look at it is we need good people, forget about politics for a moment, left, right, center. We need good people who are entering politics. So explain to me why now, and why did you decide to make this move?
You know, on the morning of October 8th, when I didn't sleep at night, but when I woke up, I understood that our country changed forever. And on my journey to Nachal Oz to save my family, where I fought and rescued many other people, I saw in my own eyes the biggest failure in the history of the State of Israel. I saw bodies more than I see in all my military career. And I understood that the military and the country is not functioning at all. On October 8th in the morning, I said that everybody that in charge of this failure, of this slaughter, need to take responsibility and go away. All the leadership of the military, all the leadership of the intelligence, and all the Israeli government, include Prime Minister Netanyahu that is in charge of this failure. And then I started a journey when I did whatever I can to save my country, to help my country. And we started to work very hard on few issues. Number one, that we need a formal investigation to understand what happened and how we can prevent it. You know, I met Eyal Eshel and Rafi Ben Shitrit, a week after October 7, near the Nachal Oz post. They came to look after the bodies of their kids. And I understood I need to, those people need answers. And that's why, when they built West October, I think it was the right thing to do, to ask for a formal investigation to prevent it in the future, such a crisis. And then I understood that the military is too small. We need much more soldiers. and we have to recruit the ultra-Orthodox because we don't have any other sources for soldiers, and they can be great soldiers. And we missed a huge opportunity to bring them into the military. After October 7th, there was a goodwill, but then the government, and their Knesset member destroyed it. And I understood that, we need to bring back the hostages. This is, the Jewish spirit, Kol Israel Aravim Ze Lazeh, and the Israeli value of you don't leave anyone behind you. לא משאירים אף אחד מאחור. לא משאירים פצועים בשטח. And I started a huge struggle. But more than this, on October 8th, I understood that nobody is taking care of the communities that were, they were refugees inside our country. Never happened before.
Right.
And basically, me and my friends, all of them are retired generals from the IDF, the Shabak, the Mossad, and the police. We were the first one to adopt those communities because the government was not functioning.
Yeah.
And then I understood that, we need new leadership in Israel. And when we brought back all the hostages and basically the war ended, I understood that now the big story is how to win the election and to bring brave, straightforward leadership to Israel, because we need to put this train on track again. The Israeli, Israel as a country is falling apart. And the only game in town is politics, and that's why I thought it's about time to join politics and to influence from inside. And that's why I joined Yesh Atid, because I believe that Yesh Atid is the party that need to build the new government. Yesh Atid is in the center. They are working very hard in the opposition, trying to block all those crazy rules that the coalition is trying to do in order to destroy Israel. And I believe that Yair Lapid is a leader that did a lot in politics. He understands politics, and he was the only one who built twice government without the ultra-Orthodox, which in my eyes is very important to move Israel forward. And you want to influence, you have to jump to the water, and this is what I did. And I encourage everybody, good people, from all kind of the scale, to join, because we need new leadership in Israel.
What is I look at the polls, at least, right, for the time being, and you're not going to have an easy time. The country's still very divided. Netanyahu is still very strong. Neither side at the moment can form a coalition. And if we look at what's happening within the so-called opposition, I guess the side of the map where you currently are situated, there seems to be more infighting than uniting against the coalition, which you all want to replace.
First of all, we are going to win the elections, and you can say that we have the majority. What we need to do right now is really to do it on the smart way. And I believe that, if you want somebody to trust, Yesh Atid is the party that you can trust. Yesh Atid will not do a coalition with Benjamin Netanyahu. Yesh Atid will not do a coalition with the ultra-Orthodox. And Yesh Atid is really in the center of the parties in the opposition. And we can build and united from Yair Golan, which is a good friend, on one side, all the way to Naftali Bennett on the other side. And I believe that, we will work hard, that we will build the strongest party. And I believe that if Yesh Atid will be strong, the coalition will be strong. And, when you ask about, united, everybody told me at the beginning, build your own party. And I said, no, we have too many parties. And that's why I went to Yesh Atid, because this is a strong party with, they have branches all over Israel. They have very good organization. They have very good team. You look at the people who are fighting now in the Knesset, a very good team and a very good leader. And I think that I can help. And that's why I believe that as we go forward to the election, we're going to win them. And yes, we're going to bring new spirit to Israel.
You mentioned how in your first reason for entering politics is the need for an investigation, a commission of inquiry. And this government has done everything possible to avoid establishing a commission of inquiry, proposing what I think, for the lack of a better term, can only be described as a political commission, is what they want, as opposed to a state commission of inquiry, what we call Vadat Chakira Mamlachtit. Why is it that the government is refusing to do what any other government in the history of Israel has done after disasters that are much less severe than the one that took place on October 7th? And someone who, as you said, the images that you saw that day when you drove down to Nahal Oz to rescue Israelis, to get to your son Amir and his family, and to bring them to safety, you saw things that you never imagined as a former IDF general, or as an IDF, or someone who would have still been in his position. So where is that commission of inquiry?
I think this is, the biggest failure of Benjamin Netanyahu, that he never took responsibility as a leader to the failure on October 7. He is taking responsibility only when something worked good. If something is not working good, it's always he blames somebody. This is a poor leadership, and that's why we need to replace him. He is too long there. And he understood that, if there will be a real formal investigation, according to the Israeli law, and we have a good law about it, that the government choose the topics, and then the Supreme Court choose the best people in Israel to investigate it. What's wrong with it? And it's a good law, but he knows that this investigation will find him responsible. And by the way, this is the way history will remember him, just like we remember Golda because of the Yom Kippur failure. So he's doing whatever he can to destroy the Supreme Court, and to do something else, it will not help him. The whole idea of this political investigation is to do something which will, very dangerous, destroy the evidence. But on the first day on our new government, we will form a real investigation according to the Israeli law. And yes, everybody that's in charge on this failure, in the government, in the military, will need to pay the price and take responsibility. And we need that nobody of them will serve in the service, in the government anymore.
As someone who spent many decades in the IDF, and we know that the IDF has done some of its own investigations internally in the absence of a commission, but I think it's interesting, and I'm sure you can explain this to our listeners and our viewers, Noam, the importance of a commission of inquiry. Why is it important? Because I think sometimes people think, the IDF already implemented the lessons. It can now, this won't happen again. There won't be an invasion because now we have more soldiers on the border, more attack helicopters, whatever. But the government, that's political retribution. That's about politics. That's got nothing to do. I think people need to understand, and you're someone who's been in the system for many years. Why is this important for Israel?
First of all, the IDF cannot investigate itself. The IDF can learn what happened, but you need somebody from the outside, clean people, that we have a lot of good people, that will check all the evidence and then come with new ideas how to prevent it in the future. The investigation that the IDF did basically told us what happened. It wasn't good investigation, and that's why we need a real investigation. Regarding to the political level, the government we need to replace the government, and a formal investigation will understand who is in charge, and those people that in charge cannot be in the political arena of Israel anymore. And that's why, there is some kind of trying to prevent it. But if you want to avoid such a crisis again in the future of Israel, you need really to understand what happened, why it happened, who is in charge, how to prevent it in the future. And I'm not talking only about October 7. I will take 10 years before October 7, and I would investigate everybody that was in the military, that was in the government, that was in the Shabak, 10 years from Tzuk Eitan operation. And then what happened on October 7, the day itself, why it happened, why there were no military, no forces, what happened with Benjamin Netanyahu. He was hiding in some shelter. What happened to him in the morning? He understood that they are slaughtering people in Be'eri, and still you can see that they are trying to fix the books. And this is not good. This is not good when people try to fix the books, what really happened, and blame somebody else. And then to investigate also the war. Why it took so long? Why it took us so long to bring the hostages back home? 46 people were murdered, slaughtered, in the hand of those, the murderers of the Hamas. And why all the fronts are still open, and in many ways why we end the operation in Gaza, where we are not in control, the Americans in control. So many people, so many issues, topics to investigate. Only a real investigation can do it.
You've spoken since entering politics about the things that you'd like to focus on in the Knesset if you get in there. And one of them is, you've said you want to fix the IDF, we need to become a bigger military, we need to change our security doctrine. We haven't been, maybe, I don't know if aggressive enough is the right term, but you said we were too tame until now.
Aggressive enough is the right term, yeah.
Okay, so explain to us, if you can, Noam, what do you want to fix in the IDF, and what is the change that we need to see?
First of all, we need to change the doctrine. The doctrine of the idea of the government, of this government, for the last 10 years was, quiet will answer in quiet. Okay, we understood, that the Qatarian money that Benjamin Netanyahu brought from Qatar goes to Hamas, and Hamas is building a monster. The same, we understood that the Iranian money that goes to Hezbollah, and Hezbollah is building a monster. But the government, instead of attacking them, said, okay, if they are quiet, we will be quiet. And then, we paid this huge price on October 7th. So my doctrine will be the following, and it includes the whole Middle East. If somebody is building a monster, wants to kill and destroy the Israeli people, from Iran all the way to Syria, Iraq, all the region, of course, Lebanon, Hezbollah, and Hamas, we will attack him first. Preventing war is something which we have to bring back to our doctrine, just like we did in the 6 Days War. We will not have to wait that they will attack us.
Preemptive action, essentially.
Yeah. So we need to change the doctrine. Number two, in order to be good on defense, we need much more soldiers. Now, the secular and the Tzionut Datit, and the Druze are about 80% in recruit. We need more sources, and that's why I believe that we need to recruit the ultra-Orthodox. They are going to be great soldiers. And by the way, I believe that we need to recruit the Arab Israelis as well, not to the military, but to all the other organizations like police, Red Cross, whatever. I believe that to serve your country is a value, a very important value, and we need that everybody will serve. This is our ideology, this is our values. If you will serve, the country will give you everything. But it's not only a value, it's also a very important military need, because right now you have to protect the northern border, Judea and Samaria, Jordan Valley, the south, everywhere we need a lot of soldiers. We understood that technology is not solving everything.
But I mean, what you're saying, and the IDF is saying that you have the head of the manpower division, right, who's coming to the Knesset Foreign Affairs and Defense Committee and saying, we're short 10, 15,000 soldiers. We don't have where to get them from, right? I think, like you said, the one source is the 50,000 ultra-Orthodox Haredi men.
It's not 50,000, it's about 80,000.
80,000. So we need 15,000 now to just be able to do
He
our
said
missions.
we need 12,000 fighters, combat soldiers every year.
Every year.
Every year.
On
on October 7, we were lack of 3 divisions and that's why we could not fight simultaneously in the north and in the south, and that's why it took us so long and so many casualties. We need strong military force for a decisive victory in short time.
But Noam, Netanyahu must understand this. The cabinet, the security cabinet must understand that if, God forbid, there's another simultaneous invasion from the north, from the south, Iran now.
Netanyahu thinking only politics and his survival. And that's why basically he gives to the ultra-Orthodox whatever they can. When you look about this Chok HaIshtamtut, the law that they are trying to do right now, it will not bring even one ultra-Orthodox soldier. And you know what's so sad? They want to serve. After October 7, they were willing to join the IDF. Of course, we want that they will stay religious. We don't want to change them. And the IDF said, okay, on 2026, we will be ready. And now the IDF is ready, and they are working on a law which will not bring anyone, because only if you every individual which is not serving will not get anything from the country. Personal sanctions, this is what will bring them to the military, and we know that it's going to work, and we know that they are going to be. And basically this government and the poor leadership of Netanyahu is hurting the IDF, is hurting the security of the state of Israel because of political survival, and we will change it.
So talk to me about Gaza for a moment. I mean, the current situation, we've moved now into phase 2. Hamas has yet to disarm, still in control of roughly just a bit under 50% of the territory in Gaza, still have their weapons. How is this playing out? And are you optimistic? Do you think that there's a chance that this ceasefire actually holds, actually achieves the 2 goals that it needs to: security for the state of Israel and prosperity for the Palestinians of Gaza?
First of all, I want to thank President Trump for bringing the hostages back home. And basically what he saw is something very unique, that the people of Israel are fighting to bring their brother and sister back home, even though the government, didn't care. And that's why he understood it, and he brought them back home, and it's because of the big demonstration. This is the truth. But unfortunately, one of the rules that I grew up and I believe is that only Israel is in charge of the security of Israel. Only Israel is in charge of our borders, IDF. And basically what's going on in Gaza is against it, because basically the keys to what's going on in Gaza are not in the hand of Israel anymore, are the hands of the Americans. And basically, right now, Hamas is still alive. They have weapons. Nobody knows how we are going to disarm them. But Israel cannot do whatever is needed, because we are totally dependent on the Americans if they will allow us to do something. And it's not good. And that's why I think that this is, again, during the war, I said, it's very, every war has 2 legs, military leg and political leg. The military brought us huge achievement in all the fronts, but the political leg, because of Netanyahu rely on the most extreme people of Smotrich and Ben Gvir, they were never be able to close an issue, to close a good agreement in Lebanon, to close a good agreement in Syria, and of course to close a good agreement in Gaza. And right now, it's not in our hands anymore, and I think it's not.
So because of politics, we had to give up the control over the situation.
You know, because he's so dependent on those crazy extremists that he didn't do what is important for the security of the state of Israel. And yes, we will have to investigate this as well.
I mean, you've been on a journey, as you said, for the last 2 years and almost 2.5 years since October 7th, rebuilding, trying to fix. But I'm guessing also listening and meeting average and regular Israelis, and as an aspiring politician, I'm sure you talk to people, you hear their thoughts, their fears, their concerns. What have you learned about Israeli society that maybe you didn't know before entering into this journey of yours?
I believe that we have the best people in the world, and I saw it after October 7, when all the government were not functioning, the state of Israel shut down, and basically what saved us is good people from all over Israel, and good Jewish people from all over the world that support the communities. And by the way, Achim Laneshek did remarkable job on those days to help people all over Israel. And I highly appreciate what they did on those days. And what I saw that we need to fix Israel. We need to bring the train on track again. We need to clean the streets from the hate and all this poison machine that was built by Benjamin Netanyahu against, everybody that thinks something different from him. He's using this poison machine in the networks. And, all those boots, where the money come from to all this billions of money that create only one thing, hate between the Jewish people, the citizens of Israel. We need to clean it. We need constitution. That's the rules in of the government, Supreme Court, Knesset will be clear, like all over the world. We need strong borders. So we need to fix the police. We need to fix the IDF. We need to support it to make it stronger. So education, everything that you touch, we need to fix. And that's why we need to build a new government after the election.
Why is it though?
And when I'm talking with people, I think we can agree, if you take out all this hate that is, running from the poison machine, I think we can agree on a lot of things. And I think that at the end of the day, when you go to the combat units, to the IDF, to the front, nobody care if you are religious, secular, from Tel Aviv, from Gush Etzion. They fight together like brothers. And basically when they go back to the society, this hate comes again. And that's why we need to bring back the real Israeli spirit. Kol Yisrael Aravim Ze Lazeh.
Why is it that it just seems some Israelis don't understand it yet? I mean, there's still a support for that coalition. There's still there aren't people on the streets fighting for accountability and for the Commission of Inquiry. I mean, there aren't people on the streets saying we have to draft the Haredim. Where are the Israeli people? Why don't we demand more?
I think if you take three main issues that we will do, a formal investigation, the majority of the Israelis support it. Recruit the Haredim, the majority of Israelis support it. And, at the end of the day, when you go with the those initiatives that we will do on our first day, and fix the police, stop these terrible murders in the Israeli societies. Most Israelis support it. So, basically, I believe that, we will have to come with 3-4 topics. I count them, and if we will do it, we will get the support, that it's a value to serve our country, and we need to recruit not only the Haredim, but also the Arab population. Most Israelis support it. And that's why I believe that, the hate is because of this survival mode of Benjamin Netanyahu, that he is willing to do everything, to destroy the Supreme Court, to destroy the Israeli society, everything for his survival. But let me tell you something. We will replace him, and at the end of the day, what history will remember from him will be the failure on October 7 and what he did to the Israeli democracy.
Now that you're a politician, I have to ask you one last question before I let you go, Noam. Do you know what job you're looking for in the Knesset? Have you thought about defense minister, another security-related position? Is that a deal that you've made with Yair Lapid if there is going to be a government?
Let me tell you something. I have only one goal: to win the election, and to win it in a way that we can build a strong government that can really bring Israel on track again. And if we will win the election, only then we can start talk about jobs. Right now there is only one mission: to win the election, and this is what I'm focused on.
Okay, General Noam Tibon, I want to thank you very much for joining me today. Really appreciate your time.
It was such a pleasure talking with you, and as we said at the beginning, I encourage good people that, came to the Israeli society because they did something on October 7, after October 7, to join the political arena, because we need good people all over to fix Israel. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for joining me on today's episode. As always, you can find us where podcasts can be found on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, the website of the Times of Israel. We'll be back next week with another episode of the Jewish People's Podcast. In the meantime, have a Shabbat Shalom, a nice weekend, and hopefully some peace and quiet.